Hi, I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we're focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom and preparing his disciples. Now this week we're dealing with the subject matter of the Israelites at the threshold of the promised land. The Lord is ready to give the promised land to the Israelites now. But before he does, he has one last test, and it's directed towards the leaders. And that's what we dealt with in yesterday's video. Now today, we're going to pick up where we left off. The leaders of Israel have gone into the promised land to check it out and then come back to give a report. What kind of report did they give? We read about it in Numbers chapter 13, starting with verse 25. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. Now they're going to give their report. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. Now, if you'll read in Numbers chapter 13, you'll find that as they went throughout a vast area covering the whole expanse that Moses had sent them to cover to check it out, they saw such bounty, such fruitfulness, and they picked up a cluster of grapes and they carried it back to as a representation of how fruitful the land was. And they presented it to the Israelites. And they said, "We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey." Otherwise, that was a figurative way of saying it was so fruitful. We will be prosperous in this land. Here is its fruit. Oh, what a good testimony. But they weren't finished. Unfortunately, out of the 12 leaders that were sent to check out the promised land, 10 of them discouraged the Israelites from putting their faith in the Lord to give them the land. This is what they said. They said, yes, the land is fruitful, but the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. And then they talked about the giants that lived in the land. Well, I'm telling you, the report of these 10 leaders discouraged God's people so much that they ended up failing to take the promised land. In fact, it was not until another generation that the promised land was given by God to the Israelites. You know, there are still some leaders just like that in the church today that are not giving a good report. They are not preaching the word of God. They are not lifting up Jesus. They are not serving him wholeheartedly. But I have heard of so many people say, well, I just don't even go to church anymore because the leaders aren't any good. Well, maybe some leaders aren't, but I'm telling you, God always has a remnant. Out of all those leaders, there were 2, Joshua and Caleb, that served the Lord wholeheartedly. And this is what Caleb said after the bad testimony of all these other 10 leaders. He rose up in the midst, and this is what he said. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." So before you pull away from God's house and quit going up because you think all leaders are bad, oh no. Just remember, God always has a remnant in the midst. Leaders like Joshua and Caleb that love the Lord with all their heart and are serving him wholeheartedly. Seek for them. They will not lead you wrong because they are serving the Lord wholeheartedly. They're preaching the word of God. They're lifting up Jesus. Align yourself with them and see what God does in your midst. We'll see you tomorrow.